So Freezy has recently updated his overlay for the DMDs. He's got this, I don't know exactly what to call it, but he has these files that you can save over your VPX build that takes it from the default DMDs, which is kind of a low resolution and just doesn't look as pretty as the tables themselves. So this is a nice way to pretty up your DMDs to make them match the beautiful tables that these authors are creating also. And this is going to be desktop mode. I'll play in desktop mode because I have this running through my arcade. So on the vpforums.org, he has a relatively new thread here. It's called Release dmddext 1.9, and it was on July 21st, 2020, or 2021. Holy crap, I'm getting old. So Freezy, he's the developer. He does a lot of the development at this for VPX in general. He has posts that he has on here, and also the other forum, VP Universe. He talks about some of his other updates that he's doing for the entire engine. Pretty brilliant guy, at least in my eyes. All these guys are. They blew me away. But anyways, long story short. So he released this a while back, and he has this a couple links in here. He had a styling contest thread, so you can see in here, he kind of showcased the new settings that he's added here and the way the styles work and how you can edit them. So if you really want to get into learning that, you just got to dig around a bit and just read through the forum and kind of learn through the questions that other people have asked and ask your own questions. But yeah, so anyways, this will take you to where is it? So official release page. If you click that, it will take you to this page, which is GitHub. This is where a lot of coders put their code. So originally I downloaded the zip file for the X64, which I guess is 64-bit. I have a 64-bit machine, 64-bit Windows. I was like, hell, that's going to work. But no, I wasted plenty of hours trying to get that to work and scratching my head when it wouldn't work. Long story short again, the people in the forum say get the X86 version, not the X64. So once I got that, everything worked perfect like it should have right out of the box. So I downloaded that, export it into a folder, and you end up getting a handful of files and folders here. If you never set up Freezy before, you can just grab these, pull them over, copy over, and let it copy over the folders. But if you've had Freezy set up already, there's probably some DMD settings that you don't want to lose. So I'll leave that up to you to figure out how to save those settings and get them into this new ini file here. But once you copy these over, you can come in this ini file and start editing it. If you work with MAME, you probably get some experience with that. But I use Notepad++ to do my editing for this code stuff. I'm not a coder, but I've learned certain programs make things easier. You can see it just does a lot better job of breaking this code up and visualizing it compared to just regular old Notepad. A couple settings in here that I, after beating my head against the wall, I finally figured out through questions in the forums. Toward the top, the second section, there's a virtual DMD. Make sure that is enabled as equals true, and stay on top equals true. And another little piece of code to know. So down the bottom, you can see all these purple. This is the name of my ROMs, which is basically the table. And as you're setting up each table, it's saving individual settings for each table or each ROM. Basically coordinates of the DMD, the size of the DMD, if there's a style overlay, like I've got this reg dmd-metal. I've created a overlay that puts this image over it, and it puts a nice little border on it. But anyways, one of the big pieces, so Freezy allows you to make your regular DMDs, the rectangle ones, look pretty with nice dots, and changing the dot sizes. You can make them square, you can make the spacings between the dots bigger and smaller, you can put glows, you can change colors. It's really cool. But there's also the alphanumeric DMDs. Those are the really old ones, the ones that look like calculator text. So to get that to work, you need to, for each table, as you set up the Freezy DMD, you need to come into this code and add these two lines to make it not show the virtual DMD, the rectangle. You want to see the alphanumeric. And what this will do is force it to only show the alphanumeric. So alphanumeric enabled equals true, virtual DMD enabled equals false. That's what you want to have in your alphanumeric code for each table. So if it doesn't make sense, well, you got to start digging and figure out why, or trial and error. That's what I did. But that's about it for the DMD device ini. You'll have to get in there and do some tweaking, and you can also set up your own code and make up your own defaults. It's pretty neat. But let's see, where else was that? So under dmddevice.ini, that folder that I dragged over, there's textures, and these frames and glasses, these are overlays that you can do over the Freezy to make it look textured and neat. This Metal 5, this is one that I got that style contest. One of the guys posted up this frame, and I really like this. This doesn't come with the Freezy 1.9 download, but all these others do. But I like this other fella's better, so I copied it in here and called it Metal 5 and created my own preset for it. And there's also, you can do these different textures with the glass to make the glass look worn, but I didn't mess with that any. So to get in here and kind of show you how this works. So this is a virtual DMD. This is the square one, or rectangle one, not the alphanumeric. And you can see here, nice and pretty. It's got my border on it, but it doesn't start off like that. It starts off, it comes in here default, it's just a big one. Then you can kind of stretch it and make it the size that you want. And once you get it the size you want, you save position, and that will save the position where it's at. But the new part of this code, one of the big parts, is that you can right click this thing and do settings. Before you couldn't do that. You had to do it all in that ini file, if I understand correctly. But if you get down here to customize style, this is really where you get into the fun part of it. You can do the tint color. So actually, before I get into it, so this is what it looks like. If you hit F1, this is where you can allow that Freezy to show up. Out of the box, it probably has show DMD display window checked, and use external DMD as unchecked, and colorize as unchecked. And you can see these colors. This is what it defaults to colors. And here, let me restart this. So this is what, well, actually I've got to quit all the way out. This is a little bit of a bug for the Freezy stuff. You got to close VPX all the way out to truly save your settings. Otherwise it'll have some residual memory in there, I think. Where did it go? What's going on? Let's try that again. It's a little buggy, but once it's set up, it works fine, and it's worth it. backglass. Oh, there it is. I was just clicking the wrong window. So this is what it defaults to. You get this generic looking out of the box DMD, which looks fine when it's really small, but when you get in here and you start scaling it up, it just doesn't look good. And this is where Freezy's code comes in. So he created an overlay for this. So, and the way you activate it, hit F1 and you take the show DMD display window, check that off, and use the external DMD DLL. And that's going to look for this external Freezy DLL and make it look all pretty and such. Bam. It remembers my border being on here, so when you first load it, it won't have this border. And I'll show you what it will look more like this default. It'll look like that. But still so much better than the other one. And you can come in here and play around with these the dot sizes. Make it small, make it big, make it square, make it sharpen it up, throw some weird glow on there, or pull that glow back, make it really look contrasty, brighten it up, put tint on it, different colors of tint. I'm afraid to apply it, but anyway, I'll do it for this. But see, you just make it look all kinds of neat and pretty. And you can go in here and you can go to these overlays, like I was saying before, and add different overlays to it. And that's where you have to start playing with these overlay frame offsets a bit. And it's got a lock, so be careful when you get the lock on and off. But that allows this to get this right on the edge without this text being overlaid. But long story short, I created my own presets here. Real DMD metal. That's one that I've got already set up. Hopefully I didn't screw it. I might have screwed something up on mine. But anyways, I've got, I use the color DMDs. For mine. So that's a whole nother game, which I will show hopefully quickly here. So to make, okay, so two things. There's colorized, which this is default colorized. This is what the pinball machines did early on. It went from just this regular old orange to this kind of pseudo colored, like 3 or 4 colors here. And it's neat, but it's not as neat as what I'm showing here. This is doing that same setting, but having an alt color folder with certain folder files in it will allow you to do some cool colorings on your DMDs. Which this is going to have a lot more than those 4 colors I showed. I have noticed that for some reason this messes the balls up. And if you hit B, you have to add one to the trough.
Business reports are coming in from all over the world.
I don't know what that's all about.
The Earth is under attack. An attack from Mars!
Oh Lord, that was way too loud. But you can see the DMDs, a true color DMD. really cool. There's plenty of information probably online on this. The main thing I was wanting to show was the Freezy DMDs. An example of the alphanumeric. Bad Cats is one that I've done. This is a good one that shows the default alphanumeric. See this? This is really pretty compared to the default. And it's very similar. The default comes with this alphanumeric default VPN name. It looks nothing like this, and it doesn't allow you to scale it up and keep it pretty. This is one of the defaults colors that he had. It matched this well, so I left it. But instead of right-clicking for your settings for the alphanumeric, you hover over and you see these little setting boxes. That's where you can get in here and change with the colors a bit. I've created my own defaults in the ini file. I created a blue one and a purple one, so it allows you to change that stuff. I like the default, so I'm gonna leave it as is. But I did a purple one for Tom and Jerry because it looked really well. It looked good on that one. And I did a green one for there's a, what's it called? Something Lizard. There's a game. Grain Lizard. But anyways, that's the main thing. You want to download this this x86, the Freezy 1.9. Take all these, copy them into the VPN main folder, and then start playing. Either use the defaults he's got there, or you can get courageous like I did and start poking around a bit. And I mean, just to show you one more time, you know, once you get the table open, the way you activate it is to hit F1, and that is where you turn off show DMD, turn on use external DMD. And I don't have a color one for this one, so I don't have that checked. And you hit OK, and you might have to close all the way out. Or also, don't forget, once you get it sized and where you want it, to save position of Apollo 13. And to get to the settings, you do customize style, and that's where all this opens up and you can start playing. I think that's about it. And before I close this down, I'll show a little bit about the alt color. So alt color. So under VPN main, when it out of the box, there's not an alt color. This is just a additional thing baked into VPX that allows you to take that Freezy plugin to another level. And these guys in the community have they amaze me. But on the VPN universe, this fella, I have no idea how to spell his name, Terry and Amiga, he's done a great service of aggregating all the active colorization of the DMDs. And at least for VPN or VPX, the visual pin download, we're not going to talk about real cabinets, like literal DMD real tables. There's a code for those real tables, and then there's code for the VPN guys that use LCDs. And he's gone through each one. He says that the project's either complete or it's incomplete or work in progress, abandoned. So I just went through here and just downloaded all the complete ones, the VPN download. And once you download that, you set up a folder named the same ROM as what the table is looking for. And that's very specific. You have to do that, and there you put the files that you download from that forum thread, and you said to make sure they're always named pin2dmd.pal and pin2dmd.ini. Sometimes they'll be labeled slightly different, but you'll know which is which by the extension on the end. And I'm not going to get into telling you how to know that, but out of the box windows, you don't see extensions. You need to get into your view here and start playing. There's settings in there that you can force it to show your extensions. That way you'll know which file to have. But you can see I've gone through, and these are the tables I've got now that I can colorize that Freezy DMD, and it really looks neat. Just pops even more. But yeah, that is the alt color, and like I said, you can get that from, this is a great source, the VPN universe. This seems to be where all the activity's going of the creating these things and sharing them. And this is the plug and play. This is the easy version. There's other ways to do it where you can mod the ROM and all this other bull crap, but I'm staying away from that. I'm doing this more plug and play. It seems like all this old method is what a lot of people had, but now they're slowly bringing it to this more plug and play method. There are some authors that are starting to do 64 colors, which right now Freezy doesn't support. So stay away from those. Just stay away from the more generic, or stay close to, or use the ones that are in this list here. And if you see something that says 64 colors, just stay away from it for now until Freezy gets it updated. But I think that's about it. So that's how you get Freezy set up, and that is also how you can colorize the Freezy ones if it allows. Like I said, this dmddevice.ini, that's the file that you want to be editing to get it all to work. And like toward the bottom of this file, this is where all your settings for each ROM or each table is saved. And if you're brave enough, you can get in here and start creating your own styles like I did, like the green and the purple. And up here I created what I called the reg dmd-metal, and that's the default one that I now use. It's one that I created, and I just copied and pasted one of these and tweaked it and saved the settings and created my own preset. But I think that's about it. Hopefully this helps people. I bumped my head against the wall a lot trying to get this set up, and now I just want to share what I've learned for other people. And again, this is for the desktop setup, so it might be different for the portrait mode for the people that are doing full size tables.